All right, we're joined on the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast by Stanley Cup Champion Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. And Nate, first of all, I don't expect you to take us through the entire offseason with or without the Stanley Cup, because we know you had a ton of fun, deservedly so, with the rest of your teammates. But does the celebrating and everything that went into it now seem like a distant memory because you're right back in the grind and fully engrossed in the NHL regular season one more time trying to defend?
Yeah, it's I always kind of thought once you win one, you'd be happy, and but it's not hard to get right back into the intensity of things. Like, it's just so natural. It's our third game of the season last night against Mini, and we're in danger of going 1-2 or 2-1. It's a big difference for your team, and it felt like a very intense game, and there's still 79 games to go, but it's a great feeling to be back competing again. And yeah, the cup feels like a long time ago. You saw it around training camp, and I think everyone was kind of ready to move on from it again, because we have to earn it again now, and we can't, hoist it all of September.
Yeah.
But obviously, wouldn't trade the experience for the world, but excited to chase another one down.
Nate, I got to broadcast that game. I'm standing on the ice watching you guys just, in this unbelievable celebration and so much emotion. You go, it's so hard to win. Now you win, you get the cup, everybody gets their day with it. And you say it wasn't so hard to get back to be competitive, but like, what's the first day like when you walk back in the gym? Like, how long was it? And like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get back in here. Or you're like, oh God, I got to start here.
Well, yeah, I was just like, I started skating 2 weeks after we won the cup. In Halifax, and I wasn't planning on it. I went home, did some vacation, went home like July 10th or July, something like that. So we won the 26th. I went home the 9th or 10th, and then I was, I live near Sid, so we were just hanging out, and he's skating the next day. So I'm like, I'll come out, like whatever, right? Nothing else going on. I don't have any kids or anything, so I was like, I'll come out. I was just miserable out there. I'm like, why the frick did I come out here and skate? I was so bad. And, oh God, I was just like, get me off this ice. But it's hard. It's hard. You go from drinking every day to try to be healthy again. And it was tough. Yeah, it was miserable the first couple of days for sure.
Did you get to squeeze in a trip somewhere, or did you just go?
Yeah, I went to Mexico, and yeah, it was a short summer though as well, so you wanted to be at home as much as you could too. It was just
right.
Yeah, it's just different. It's just different. So,
what's finals pressure like? Like, I was watching, and it looked like, man, everything matters so much. What's it like when you're in it?
It's heavy. It was really heavy. It was what it really kicked in was when losing game 3, we got shelled a little bit, and then we win game 4, and then you can win the cup at home. And that day was miserable. Like, it was you say all the right things, we're just focused on the game, but you're not at all. You're thinking about is winning the cup at home. You drive to the game, there's just people everywhere. You got your phones blowing up, tickets, people just the cup's in the building, you can sell it. People ask them what the plan is after the game, and I'm just like, want to throw my phone out the window. And then yeah, it's just a tough day. It was a tough day, and no one really felt good. And I think what all of us on the team kind of pretended we were ready to go, but so we lose that game, and we still played a decent game. Actually, I remember we played okay. Like, it wasn't like we stunk it up. We still, shot them by 15. Like, we played well, but just not enough to win. And then you're thinking, okay, we're going back to Tampa for game 6 for 3-2. It's like, let's dial it in here. We don't want game 7. But we had a great meeting the night before game 6. And I remember Cogliano stood up in front of the whole team, had a great speech, like very, very inspirational. At the end of the day, it's just about us. It was just about us in that room. And there was a lot of noise, but, we just wanted to look ourselves in the mirror after game 6, knowing we gave it all we had, and then kind of see where the chips would fall. And, versus game 5, all we're thinking about was the result, which is not the recipe for our team all season. So, but yeah, it was heavy. It was, you start thinking, okay, we can't be blowing a 3-1 lead in the finals.
Right.
But we put that aside quickly and moved on.
So like I'm thinking about that day, you lose game 5, you've lost Burakovsky somewhere in there where he's broken his hand or finger or whatever it was. And then between, Nichushkin gets hurt in game 5. So I'm walking over to the rink in the morning and Nichushkin comes down the escalator and he's wearing a Marriott slipper. And, and I'm like, well, that can't be good. And so like, does it start to feel a little, because he had a foot injury that he suffered in game 5, but does it start to feel there like, oh man, like we got to do it here. Like, does the pressure get more or less? I'm kind of interested that like to me, it felt like, man, you don't want to go back for game 7. Like, man, that's the last thing you need.
No. And it's funny. You don't even really think about that. It's kind of like, oh, another broken bone. It is what it is. Like, it's just, you're so, because what can you do, and honestly, it was weird. We had zero doubt we were going to lose that game. Like, we knew we were going to win that game. We just knew it. And after, waking up the morning after game 5, I was still miserable. You get around the boys on the plane, you eat dinner with the boys, you start talking, everyone sharing how they felt, how we're feeling, and you just start to feel good. And for whatever reason, everyone knew we were going to win. And it was the coolest feeling in the world. It's tough to really describe it, but yeah, I mean, Val's foot was fractured. Berkey's thumb was broke. Naz's thumb was broke. I know Tampa was banged up too, and that was talked about a lot, but we were banged up as well. A lot of guys had broken things, dislocated things. And that's what's so great about hockey is no one cares. We just go.
Yeah. Well, what's not so great about hockey, I can assume, Nate, at least from a championship perspective, right? The salary cap is what it is. It's part of the world that you work in the NHL. But the worst part has to be the fact that you had a great offseason of celebrating, but also knowing that the team that you won that championship with isn't going to be the same team that you're starting 22-23 with. The nucleus is there, but everybody that was on that team isn't on your team right now. Is that kind of an ugly byproduct of the salary cap and just living life at that level?
Yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. I mean, most other sports, you can keep everyone together as long as guys want to be there. Yeah, like you said, not that those guys weren't a part of the core, but I guess the guys a lot of guys are back, I guess you could say. But yeah, losing Naz and Berkey especially, I want to forget anybody, but those two, those are I don't know how many points Naz had last year, and then Berkey had like 25 goals, and Naz was amazing in the playoffs. So tough to fill those voids, but we're counting on guys stepping up and kind of blossoming into their careers. But yeah, it's just the cap world. I think every team goes through, like at Tampa, they lose Palat and McDonough, Pittsburgh over the years, and Chicago, obviously. But the nice thing about our team is we're all still very young. We're all, obviously Kale's 24, Nico's 25, and I'm 27 now. Gabe's 29. So I think we still have a lot of great years left in the tank. But yeah, definitely too bad the way it is with the cap stuff.
Nate, I just laughed. You said you're 27. I remember the first time I saw you play was at the World Juniors. You had that cage on. You looked like a bantam out there, and I was like, oh my God, this is Nate MacKinnon. Everybody's been talking about, but you were so young. Like, how fast does that feel? Like, it was only 5 years ago. Yes, guys had 50 points. Like your team. Like how? Yeah. Have you sat and thought about that at all? Like how fast it's all gone?
Yeah, it's my 10th season this year, and which is crazy to think about that I'm a decade into the league now. But it kind of feels like my careers, I've had like 3 different careers into one, if that makes any sense. I had the first 3 years with Patty Wall, which feels like a very long time ago. And then the next 3 years, I had a really, we all had a really tough year, 16, 17. And then the next couple of years, we're just trying to find my way as a good player in the league. And then the last couple of years, I've been trying to, expand my, now that I know I'm good, I don't have to really think about that a whole lot anymore. Trying to just become a better leader and help my teammates as much as I can the last couple of seasons. So it just feels like stages. And I'm sure everyone feels like that as they progress through the league, but it's definitely flown by, and I'm definitely trying to enjoy it more and more because the next 10 will probably go even quicker. So I'm just trying to really be present.
You said you after game 5, you woke up, you were still hot, and you can run hot, and you talk about growing as a
No,
leader.
not
And
me.
no,
No,
I've
I
seen it.
don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Just once,
No.
just once.
Just 1 or 2 times. Yeah.
So like, how do you, when you feel that coming, because it just doesn't go away. I mean, you must start to feel the burn inside. Like, what do you do to kind of put a lid on it a little bit to not be like, I'll say old Nate, like where you
Yeah.
might snap or something? Is there something you do, or is it just you're getting older and you figured it out a bit?
Yeah, I just think it's a lot of stuff away from the rink. It goes into it because you don't want to hold everything in and then explode even worse. Eventually, I've tried that method before too. It doesn't work well.
You lose a lot of sticks that way, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of money was wasted. But I think at the end of the day, like I want guys on my team who you want to tame versus to try to get guys going. That's the worst when you're trying to get a guy ready to go and he doesn't play with jam. Like I don't mind when guys snap and break their. I like that shit.
Yeah.
But for me, I think, yeah, I started working with a sports psych about 5 years ago, and she's been great for my career. Just different ways to work on things and a lot of reading, and it's a lot. It took a lot for me to get to this point, and I'm still not where I want to be yet. I still want to get better at a lot of different things, but it's nice having a lot of good veterans on the team who, understand my personality more, like Cogs, Helmer, Mance, Landy. Obviously, I've been really good friends with him for 10 years now. So a lot of great leaders that it's not like whatever I do is the end of the world. So it's nice to have that for sure.
You work out with Sid, it's much documented, whatever. He's got this amazing engine. Like I just can't believe how good he is at 35 years old. Like he seems to like reinvent himself all the time. I love seeing how he's kind of run the edges off himself too. And like, he just looks like he enjoys it more. Like do you see that? Like, is that something you can take from him? Because you guys are so similar in the way you run. It's really pretty interesting to me.
Yeah. I just think what I'm sure Sid figured out, I don't want to put words in his mouth or anything, but I think, he's the most competitive guy, way more competitive than me even. He thinks everything's so detailed through, and he's such an amazing guy to be around. He's got so much, you just want to follow him anywhere he goes. He's got that aura around him. But I definitely think he, like you said, he's just enjoying it. And in the summers, he's always looking for different ways to get better. He's always, pushing Andy O'Brien to, like, his workouts are so hard. Like, they're so hard. Like, even compared to mine, like, I know we have different bodies, but like his are like, mine will be like 50 to an hour. His are like an hour 45. Like, just, he's 35 years old, just getting rinsed every day. And he loves it. Like, you're insane, man. What's wrong with you? But he's just a freak, and he's so mentally strong, he can handle it, but he enjoys it. And I think I'm not in Pittsburgh with him, obviously, but he loves to have fun. He loves to laugh. People don't really see that, but he's a very happy guy. And I think, I'm maybe in his late 20s, he might have felt some pressure or whatever, but after that 16 Cup, I think he's really enjoyed his career even more, because like I've said too, you just want to enjoy it because it goes quick.
So you guys aren't playing golf for fun, right? Like you're like somebody's trying to win, right?
We're both hoping we chunk it every shot, I think, for sure.
Who's better?
I'm a little better, but Sid, he
like,
says
is he grinding you for strokes?
Yeah, like he says he's a 10, then he'll shoot a 77. I'm like, you're a joke. You're a joke.
So bad.
I hate you.
Well, Nate, we'll let you go with this. Now, Sid did talk about some of the partying that he did with you during the off season, during your Stanley Cup party. We don't have to get into the details of that, but what was the best part of your day with the Stanley Cup?
I think we did I did a smaller party just for 40, 45 people at my house, and just like the closest people in my life, which was awesome. Remember, we all jumped in the lake at like 2 a.m. That was great. And then the next day, took it to seniors veterans hospital. That was awesome. These men and women were in their 90s, or a couple of them were over 100, and they were looking at names when they were growing up in the 30s and 40s, which was which is
Amazing.
pretty crazy. That's the coolest thing about the cup, I think, is just being associated with the all-time greats. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I think that the 2 cup days are more for your family and friends to enjoy it. It's a lot, it's busy, but yeah, the real moments, I think, were on the ice, in the locker room, the parade for our team, and those are probably the best feelings for sure.
That's awesome. Well, Nate, look, Ray and I really appreciate you joining us. We know it's incredibly difficult to take, 20 minutes in a day when you're not playing that night, which isn't very often in the National
No.
Hockey League. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me.
You bet,
Appreciate it.
Nate. Good luck.
All right, thanks guys. See ya.